It's that time of year when garden centres, nurseries and even supermarkets are full of young cherry trees, and these can make for great, elegant bonsai. Keep watching because I'm going to show you how to turn something inexpensive like this into a beautiful bonsai of your own. A couple of years ago, I created a beautiful, windswept literati Fuji cherry bonsai tree. It had real elegance to it and was one of the top 10 favourite trees in my bonsai collection at the time. Unfortunately, I no longer have that tree. In the same year that many people lost Chinese elms, that tree succumbed to the late frosts because it had quite weak roots. But if you keep watching, I'm going to show you how I can recreate that tree using inexpensive material. This particular tree that I've just bought from the local big box DIY store B&Q in the UK. I've paid £12 for this tree, and you can pick them up for as little as maybe £7 or £8 in your local garden centres, and they're all over the place at this time of year. This tree is a Kojo-no-Mai Fuji cherry tree, and they have a particularly distinct growth habit. You can see here that the branches have a very zigzag growth to them, which lends itself particularly well to styling the tree as a small bonsai tree. In fact, you can see that this tree appears to have multiple stems, and it's even quite possible that there may actually be multiple trees in the pot. And the first thing we need to do is to get this out of the pot and examine what those roots look like. So the first thing I want to do is to get this tree out of the pot and establish just exactly how many trees we've got growing in here. As well as establishing how many separate trees we might have in here, we're also trying to establish at what point the roots appear, because that may have some bearing on the styling of the tree. Now, I'm particularly interested in this half of the tree, which will help me to try and replicate the tree that unfortunately I lost. But it's also possible I can do something with the other half of the tree here. And it appears to me that we definitely have two separate trees at least in this pot, and I can separate out this tree that I'm interested in, and then I can deal with this tree. I'm just going around the root ball and trying to loosen up this mass of soil so that we can see the roots. So there we have it. I've managed to separate these two trees and untangle the root mass. So in fact, I got two trees for £12. And I'm now going to take this tree and apply some wire and shaping to it to give me the design that I'm after, which is more of a literati windswept shape to mimic the tree which I lost. And we can already see there is some shape in the trunk there. What I might do is lose this first branch and possibly some of these other branches, and then I'm going to apply a bit of wire just to bring this down and shape these branches in a more horizontal plane. I just want to also trim some of these highest roots just to try and reveal more of that trunk. I've got some thicker roots emerging at that point, so I think I will try and use that as my soil level. So these roots which are just sticking out on that level, just going to remove those, going all the way around the tree. And we've got plenty of downward fine feeder roots. What I might do is just take some of the length off this thicker root and shorten some of these other roots around the root ball. So we've still got plenty of feeder roots on that tree. And so the next thing I want to do is I want to try and give some shape to this tree. And I think what I will do is I'll have it slightly inclined that way and then bring the apex of the tree up here down with some wire and lose these lower two branches. And Fuji cherry is quite a robust tree, so it's not going to do it any harm to have lost those branches. I just want to get a thick piece of wire onto that trunk just to give the trunk a little bit of shape. So starting down low in where the roots will be, just to get that around the trunk of the tree. Trying to avoid damaging the branches. And just up the centre of the tree. And I just want to twist and turn that to bring the trunk downwards to give me that bend. And I think at this point I'll actually just bend it back the other way slightly. And then I just want to get some wire on some of these branches up here and just position those. So I'm going to pair this branch with this one and wire them both and position those. I'm just trying to position that wire so that that wiring is as tidy as possible. And again, trying to avoid the buds as I go up and along the branch. And I'm going to also get a wire on this and position those as well. I am using slightly oversized wire for this job, and part of the reason for that is that it will prevent the wire from cutting in and scarring the branches as much. So here we are, we've got the wire on the tree, and now I just want to position and shape those branches. So I just want this to come down ever so slightly and just add some bends in there. Kojo-no-Mai already has these bends and twists, which is one of the great features of the tree, and we're just really exaggerating those slightly just to give more interest to the look of the tree. And I'm bringing everything round to face in this direction. That impression of a wind-swept tree. And so I'm now going to plant this into a pot at sort of that angle, and then just let the tree develop and recover for the immediate future. I've got here a pond basket which I bought from the aquatics centre at my local garden centre, and these are great for growing nursery trees and helping to develop the roots on those to help them recover and to thicken them up. And the reason for that is because they're perforated, it allows lots of good aeration to the roots, and healthy roots mean a healthy plant. I've just added a couple of wires into the basket which I'm going to use just to secure and hold the tree in place until those roots develop. Now I just need to add some bonsai soil in there. And you don't need to overthink bonsai soil, we just want some kind of gritty soil mix in there that will allow water to drain free and will also allow lots of oxygen to get to those roots. Got a nice bed of bonsai soil in there, and now I'm going to put my tree into the pot and try and position the roots so they spread out in a nice radial fashion. I'm just settling that down onto the bonsai soil, and I'm going to use the tie down wires I added in there just to secure the tree in position until those roots develop. Just cut off the excess. And then just cover those roots with soil. And just settle that down around the roots. And there we go, we've got the beginnings of our little cherry tree bonsai. I'm just going to come in and shorten these branches. We want the longer branches to be in the middle of the composition, so I'll just shorten that there. And there we go. I'm just going to leave that now to develop. In a couple of weeks' time, we are expecting that this tree will bud out with lots of tiny little white flowers, which are sort of drooping pendulous flowers that will hang down beneath the branches, and then those will develop into leaves. So leave this tree in this pot to develop for perhaps the next year or so. And once we've got some healthy roots on there, we can look at moving that into a small bonsai pot. And that's when we'll really see this tree in its full glory and looking at its best. If you enjoyed that video, then be sure to check out the other videos on the channel for lots of great bonsai projects. And if you'd like to see 7 years of bonsai knowledge condensed into one video, you need to check out this video next.